Welcome to Qualtrics. In this video, we're going to be discussing the General tab of your folder properties. The General tab under your folder properties is broken up into several sections. We're going to start with the main settings sections at the top of your screen. There are a series of checkboxes here that can apply to many different areas of your folder properties. The first one states, allow users not logged in to start a revision. This setting in particular pertains to only our on-premise customers. It will have no functionality with our hosted customers. What it does is allow users that are on your server, but perhaps do not have a Qualtrics login, it will allow them to request edits to documents in this folder. The second option states individuals allowed in approval, review, and notify list. This is a setting that directly applies to your document list tab of your folder properties. What it does is allow individuals to be selected as opposed to groups for any of those three job responsibilities. Third option and the fourth option directly relate to the way contents in your folders are organized. First one states always display subfolders above documents. This, just like it sounds, will display folders first above your documents in any particular folder. The next option, reorder alphabetically, gives you the ability to order the contents of your folder in alphabetical order rather than the way they were uploaded or randomly. The next setting states require password verification for processing. This is a setting that directly pertains to our CFR Part 11 FDA customers. What this does is require you to log in a second time whenever you process a document in any capacity. The last checkbox under main settings states standards required. And what this does is it will force the user to select a certain portion of standards to apply to any document that you upload in this folder. The last setting under your main settings section defines what document types are allowable, again, in this particular folder. You have the option to lock this folder down to only controlled documents, which means those files will have to go through the document control lifecycle. You could also lock this folder down to only uncontrolled documents, which means they will not have to go through that document control lifecycle. Or you could elect to have both types of documents in this folder, which will give you a variety of types. The next section we're going to talk about under the General tab is the Standards section. The Standards sections determine the default standards to apply when creating new documents in this folder, or to add to existing documents and folders that might be listed as subfolders. To select what standards you would like to apply by default, go ahead and choose the Edit hyperlink. On this screen, you will see a list of all of the available standards that you currently have in your system. From here, you can use the checkboxes to select what areas of the standards you would like to apply by default. Once you've made your selections, go ahead and choose the Select option on the upper right. If you ever need to verify what standards you have selected, you always have the option to choose the Standards Selected hyperlink. This will list out any of the standards that you have chosen to use as the default standards for this folder. The next setting we're going to talk about is document expirations. In order to set this up, you first need to select Yes from the drop-down list next to Expires. From here, you need to designate who documents will expire to in this folder. You have the option to choose the last person who edited the document or the document manager, which is someone who will be set on the Document List tab. This is going to be the person who will receive the notification to revise the document. Once you have designated who that person is, you then need to select the frequency in which they will receive the notification to do so. You can select every certain amount of days, weeks, months, or years. Or if you prefer, you can select a specific calendar date during the year. you'll notice a checkbox that says Reset Expiration Date with every revision. This allows you to reset that clock or schedule whenever you decide to revise that document. Keep in mind, you could elect to revise a document before you're notified to do so. This is when that setting comes into play. From here, we'll move on to the Approval List section under your General tab. Here you'll see a drop-down list for the required approver. This is where you can set an individual approver for all the documents in this folder without actually unlocking the individuals option on the Document List tab. Once you have selected a person from this list, you also then have the option to make them the final approver for documents in this folder. You can do this by selecting the checkbox that says Make Final Approver. This brings us to some security options surrounding Qualtrics generated PDF files. Here you have a checkbox entitled Enable PDF Security. If you select this, that means you'll be able to designate a password to access those Qualtrics generated PDF files in this folder. You then also have an option to allow PDF printing. If you choose to allow PDF printing, you will notice a printer icon on that PDF preview. If you uncheck this, that printer icon will be disabled on all of those previews. The last option under the General tab of your folder properties is Tree Display Properties. These are options that allow you to customize the title of this particular folder. You can color code the title by selecting a color from the drop-down list, or you could choose whether you want the text of that title to be bolded or italicized. Thank you for attending this Qualtrics training. If you have any further questions, please reach out to support or your account manager.